What's up there, guys? Welcome back to Get Detecting. Today we're not detecting per se. Today we are car servicing. Been doing a lot of these lately, and today is a VF Holden Commodore. So the model up from this one, this is a VE Commodore in front of us, and the model up is a VF Commodore, Holden Commodore. It's a young bloke bringing his car in today, and it's an ex-police pursuit car. So we're going to show it. It's pretty cool. It's silver in colour. Low Ks, I think. It's going to be a very nice example of a VF Commodore. Do a bit of a clean up in the shed here quickly, empty some oil, and look, just clean up in the shed, preparing for this car. When it gets here, we'll show you a look at the service and how I'm doing it on the cheap. This service is only costing this bloke around about the $100 mark. So if you've got a VF Commodore, VE Commodore, Alloy Tech engine, watch this video and you'll be able to check out how I'm doing the service, what I check over, and what I do as I do it. So stay tuned. We'll see the car very shortly. Alright guys, we are at home now with the Commodore, VF Commodore. We just went and dropped the customer back home. It's got 189,000 Ks on the clock there. I do notice that he's in early for a service. The service sticker above reads 192, so he is in early, which is nice to see, or the 8th month of 2025. So that's not bad, 189,000 Ks, 3,000 Ks early, as I said. And we're going to get all this service done and done well. And he did mention about possible brake pads need replacing, so we're going to check those. I did notice on the drive home the car felt very finicky, very funny in the front end. Very, you just make a slight adjustment of the steering wheel. Turn those lights off. Slight adjustment of the steering wheel, and the steering wheel or the car would just sort of throw around. It'd rip left, rip right, really quickly. But it's all going to be put down to these rims, I dare say. These rims, look, big wide rims, and they are 20-inch, so very low profile tyres too. I'd say that that's making it drive so funny on the front end. I'm sure the young bloke's used to it. And he did mention about front brake pads, and to be honest, they look pretty good. I'll show you a bit of a trick that I've learned over the years. Windscreen wiper blades, the backing pieces of them, that's these right here. You bend them around into a little hook and you put a little tail on the end, and this is the best way to check brake pads. So my boss actually taught me this. So sit your light where you can see. Generally you'll have two hands, and you put your little plate in there, and you pull him in, or push him into the rotor, pull him back to the pad. Do that a few times and you'll see exactly. It's really hard to get the phone in there to show you. Pulling him in, pushing him out, and you're going to see exactly how much brake pad you've got there. Now I can actually see that there is probably a couple of mil clearance between the pad and the rotor, or the backing plate and the rotor. So he doesn't need new front brake pads. Long story short, the rotors don't really have a lip on them, so you're looking for that outer lip and even an inner lip. Sometimes you can get the rotors machined, but a lot of time nowadays it costs more to get them machined, less to replace them. So look, let's get into this service. We will check over a little bit more as we go. Just checking brake pads because they can wear unevenly, so what you see on the left may not be the case on the right. But the main thing is we need to start dropping that oil. So let's, where is he? There he is. Let's get this happening, get the service going. I've done lots of these cars in the past before. Get rid of the engine cover. We're going to drop the air filter. Oil filter lives in there. It's an R2605P. We're using a Ryco replacement oil filter today. We've got the drive belt down there. We're going to check. We're going to drop all the oil out, as I said, replace all the additives, and check over everything. Some of the notorious common faults with these engines and with these cars, and we'll show you as we go. Alright, car is jacked up, as you can see. We're just taking the bash plate off. Everything is 13mm underneath here. Just give it a slight crack. And a lot of cars don't have these on because mechanics take them off and they're too lazy to put them back on. So it's good to see this one's on. And funny too, being a police pursuit car, a lot of these are upgraded to metal bash plates. I know, because I've had ex-police pursuit cars, so I've worked on a lot of them too. And the reason why they're metal, they changed these from plastic to metal, is because cops like to drive up gutters chasing criminals. So they've got to be metal to protect the sump. I remember an old VS BT1 ex-cop car that I worked on. And the bloke never wanted the the bash plate underneath, so I kept it. And I had a metal bash plate for my VS Calais later on. Wasn't an ex-cop car, but it had a metal bash plate. So 13, 15s, Holden like to use all the same common bolts. That there sump plug is a 15mm. What we just took out there for the bash plate are the 13mm. So 13, 15s underneath here. Next job is to release the oil, drop it out, see how dirty it is. First thing we're going to do though is just check the car's on a bit of an angle, I know, but we will just check the oil level. A lot of cars that I bring into the workshop or have done over the years, you know, you check the oil level and you'd be amazed how low they are straight off the bat. So just want to check this one before I drop him. The Camry there I did last week, I'll put a picture up on the screen. It was below low, it was that low. So just interesting to see and report to the customer. Look, you didn't have much oil in your car when it come in for service, mate. So, and it's also a good telltale sign that the car's using oil. I mean, this here is just basically the oil coming out. You know, a bit of condensation of oil, if you like. Look at that, he's down too, and the car is on an angle. So, but he is down on oil. He was low between services, so that tells me one thing. I need to be checking rear main seals. I need to be checking rocker cover gaskets because the oil is going somewhere. It's leaking out. It's oozing power. It's oozing out the oil, and it's on a bit of an angle, so it's not 100% accurate. Another good trick too, I'll just show you. Take your oil cap off whenever you're working on your engine or doing a service and sit it right there. Reason being is because you physically cannot shut the bonnet, and you'll look and you'll go, why is it not shutting? And you'll know that you did not put your oil cap on. So a good way to never ever leave your oil cap off, and I know it sounds silly, but you see it done so much. So let's take the airbox out. One more down there, one more down here. Let's have a look at the air filter. Not too bad. We'll blow him out, clean him out. And as I said, we're going to drop all that oil out. Next thing, 24mm, and remove that oil filter cap and change the oil filter. Let's go. Righto, oil's done, draining, and next job is the oil filter. As I said, these are 24mm. I'm just using a deep impact socket on the moment, on this at the moment, and a breaker bar, quite an extensive breaker bar. They should not be that tight though. If they are, someone's doing them up too tight, and they shouldn't be. So just crack them, take them off, and they'll get loose as soon as they get past that O-ring, the rubber O-ring. And what I'll do too is they can be a little bit messy. We'll just grab our drip tray here and throw underneath the car. That oil's pretty much just at a drip now, which is good. And we'll push that drum over a little bit and get our tray there. I don't like making a mess if I can. Sometimes these can just dribble out the side. A lot of it obviously is gravity fed going down, but he's not too bad. He's not too bad at all. So we'll just put him on the drip tray there for a second. And we want to empty that housing out with all the oil. That's the old oil filter. We'll give you a bit of a look. It's very warm. It's very hot to touch. And a lot of these too, if they're too old, you know, you'll see that they'll actually collapse down on themselves. They'll almost look like they're twisted. They just collapse down on themselves. So you can tell that it's been in the car for quite a while. Now we'll just clean out that residue oil in there. We can still hear the oil dribbling out down the bottom, draining down the bottom, so that's good. The next job is to blow out the air filter, top up a few additives, and while we continue to wait for the oil to dry, while the oil's draining still, we're just going to continue checking over the car, engine mounts, drive belts, brake pads, rotors, indicators, light checks. We'll do it all and we'll give you a look. Oh, when I said I picked the car up, I said that the tyres felt a bit funny. Look at that. He's got over 40 psi in his front tyres. That's too much. Too much. Probably about 36 to 38 I'd run. Let's have a look at the back. And I sort of felt that when the customer drove me home, he pulled up in his driveway and he's got a slight little lip in his driveway. As soon as we went up the lip, I felt the tyres sort of, oh, they felt like concrete. Crazy stiff, crazy hard. Too much air. Yeah, 40 psi. I'm just going to recommend to him that he does not put so much air in his tyres. That's way too much. 40 psi is not bad. If you've got big SUV tyres, oh, there goes the compressor. Bigger tyres like a four-wheel drive, you could easily get away with 40 psi. No worries at all. You know, big 35, 36-inch tyres on a Patrol or a Land Cruiser, what have you. 40 psi would be fine. For car tyres, road tyres on standard cars, small vehicles, 40 psi is too much. 32 to 36, 38. Look for Mum's car. Mum's got a little Kia. She's got little 16-inch wheels for memory, and I generally run about 32 to 34 psi. 40's too much. I'm going to drop them down. Alright, tyres are sorted. They're down to 36 psi, all four of them. One main thing too, I better not lose his stuff there. One main thing too is make sure you check the spare tyre. If you're ever servicing your car or making sure you're getting your car serviced by someone else, make sure they check the spare tyre. It's very, very often forgotten about by a lot of mechanics because they just simply get lazy. They don't do it. And a lazy mechanic is a no good mechanic working on your car. I need to get a little bit more extra room out of this hose because you want the best service you can and best work you can done for your car, because generally 10,000 Ks or 6 months between servicing, that's a long time for things to go wrong. So tyre pressures or anything like that, you know, spare wheels not being pumped up, they will catch you out in that 6 months, and you pay for a service, you certainly don't want that to happen. So let's have a look at his spare. Has he got 40 psi in this one? Tyre pressure is so important too. The needles jumped. Tyre pressure is so important too because it helps give economy for your car. Look at that, he's only got 25, 26. Helps give good economy, fuel economy for your car. Also provides the right tyre wear. So if your tyres are not wearing properly, it could have a lot to do with your tyre inflation. You see here he's wearing a lot on the outside edge, on the outer edge of the tyre. I mean, this whole tyre needs replacing. There's the wear markers right there. And you can see they're just in line with the tread pattern. So look, to be honest, he's probably got about a month left in these tyres. They're right on the money, and if a policeman pulled you up, he'd tell you to replace them pretty much because they're right on it. So not far away at all. So this tyre's pretty much due for a replace. Let's just check that other back tyre. And the spare tyre tread too. He's not all that great either. And just by eye, where's the tyre rating? Yeah, so it's an 18. So it's an 18-inch tyre. These are 20-inch tyres. So if he ever blows a rear tyre and puts it on the back, potential of damaging his diff. So once again, there's the tread markers there. It's wearing more on the inside this time. This tyre is wearing more on the inside and not as much on the outer. So it could be basically to do with his wheel alignment and camber. You might need a camber adjustment in the rear. The wheels will just sort of be sitting a little bit sort of scar-whiff off to the side. Let's check out the front tyres. Front tyres are brand new, and a lot of customers ask me, can you please rotate my tyres? I don't mind rotating tyres. A lot of mechanics, once again, don't like doing it, too lazy. But I don't mind rotating tyres. That means taking the front to the back, crisscrossing them over and bringing the back to the front. But in this case, I never would, because if you see the tread markers on the front tyres here, they're well below the actual tread wear itself. So if you go taking these good tyres and putting them on the rear, you've just taken away your best steering tyres, the tyres that you actually drive and steer with. Your rear tyres don't matter as much. You always put your worst on the rear. So not bad. Let's pump this spare tyre up and let's move on to the next. We did the spare tyre. We actually put about 40 psi in that one. only due to the fact that it's a spare tyre, it lives in the boot, it's not on the car per se. So 40 psi and tyres actually lose a little bit of air over time. They can lose around about 1 psi a month from memory, it was. So that tyre will lose a little bit of air, so we'll just put a little bit more in him, being that he's a spare. So basically some plug washer here. I was just going to show too quickly difference between a good mechanic and a dodgy mechanic, or a mechanic that's doing it too quick and doing the job dodgy, is they don't replace your sun plug washer. In that case, it's a rubber washer. You can get felt washers, you can get alloy washers, you can get the material washers, or you can get the rubber ones. So we're going to put a new washer on this one, brand newy, because as I said, well, it's the difference between a mechanic that does something properly and just a mechanic that mechanics, I feel. Always do the job properly. My boss taught me that too. It's not me speaking for myself here. I was just taught that way. When I went and worked for a workshop there, I had a boss named Tim, and Tim was onto everything. Even to the point, if you didn't check a car's windscreen wipers and you pulled it out, finished servicing for the day, you know, I used to do 10 car services a day. Most days I'd do about 10 cars, and if you pulled a car out, you know, in a bit of a haste or what have you, and Tim said to you, did you check the wipers on that car, mate? Or, you know, what were the tyres like? Or was there any oil leaks? If you could not answer that question confidently, properly, he'd tell you to bring it back in. Bring it back in, give us another look. Or he'd bring it back in and he'd look over it. And the last thing you want is your boss checking over your work. So you always make sure you do a bloody good job. The next thing is we've done the oil filter, we've just done the sump plug, I should say. The next thing is we're going to put a new O-ring onto the oil filter housing. So pretty simple, just pinch off the old one. Doing this all one hand, left-handed, dodgy hand. And I need my rag, wherever it is. There, we're just going to clean out this oil filter housing, clean around the actual thread line there and where the O-ring went. I'm going to go get a bit of degreaser to do that. And look, that's all pretty drained out of there. It's not too bad. We'll just give them a wipe out. Put the new oil filter in though, put the new O-ring on, give it a bit of an oil up, and bingo bango, it goes back in the car. Just something to add with these oil filter housings, make sure you get the O-ring in the right spot. What I've seen in the past in workshops is people putting the O-ring onto that first thread line. And what happens when it's on that first thread line is it does not seal down properly. So make sure you get him into that valley there, make sure you drop him down into the correct line. And force of habit I know, but I always put the riding facing up. Click him into place. Oh, there he goes. And we've got a bit of oil on that O-ring, and we just drop him back down. Wiggle him around, find his place. Do not ever force anything. And he's back down. Bit of a nip up, not much. Like that. Drop our ratchet off. We'll put our breaker bar on, and literally I've just done that housing up firm, and all we do now is just give it a bit of a, that's it. No more than that. You do not go crazy. Let's get on to the next job. So one thing I do with cars that I've never actually had in my shed before, workshop shed, is I always add engine oil flush and petrol injector cleaner. I tend to always stick with this Nulon brand too. Just trust it, it's a good brand. I've used it for many years. Watch out, that black O-ring's not going to come off. But injector cleaner. So basically what this does is, it says what it does, it cleans the injectors, but it also cleans out your fuel pump filter, it cleans all your fuel rails, your fuel lines, and your injectors. So it feeds from your fuel tank all the way through the car to the motor and cleaning everything in your fuel line or fuel assembly as it goes. And as I said, I recommend doing it. I don't do it every service, but look, it does say every 5,000 Ks, but I tend to do it every couple of services. And as I said, if I haven't seen this car ever in my life before, if it's been in another workshop or been serviced and mechanicked on by someone else, I'll always do one of these. I'll do a petrol injector cleaner and an engine oil flush. There's a spare one we've got over the back, both Nulon branded. There's no affiliation there whatsoever, but just something that I always do. The next time it comes in here, I won't do an injector cleaner, I won't do an engine flush, I'll do it every second service after that. So just important. And using fully synthetic oil today, once again, Penrite. Love my Penrite stuff. And the Penrite oil, once again, I just trust. I've been using it for many, many years. I hate those rings. And I just trust it. So this is fully synthetic, hybrid, built for petrol and hybrid vehicles, or hybrid plus, I should say. And this car, VF Commodore, oh, the lid's so tight. It takes 7 litres, so we've got a 7 litre there this morning, and I will show you the total price at the end, what this service is costing to do. But the oil was actually on special. We got it for $75, $74.99. I've got a bit of a discount card there too, so that helps. But we'll show you the total pricing at the end. As I said, a cheap service and a service done properly, all from home. What more could you want? Let's put some oil in. Just a little bit of a trick I've learnt over the years, shutting down the bonnet on the oil bottle and letting it drain properly. We want the most out of that oil bottle. It's not cheap. So shut the bonnet down, lock it in place, walk away 5 minutes, do something else, come back, it'll be empty. All right, we're under the car now, and we're just about to put the bash plate tray back on. We've done the sun plug up, remember, we've put the oil in. We have not started the car yet, which we'll do in a second. Just looking at the engine mounts quickly here. I'm going to zoom in the best I can. These are your engine mount. That's what bolts your engine down to the K-frame. This being the K-frame running around here. It's in the shape of a K, look out. But that is your engine mounts right there. You've got one on each side, and you're looking for splitting, cracking, tearing, ripping in the rubber boot. I'm not seeing it. A good way to test it too, it's easier when it's up on a hoist. There's another engine mount on this side I'm just looking at. A good way to test your engine mounts too is lever your engine up. Don't lever off your sump, of course, but lever your engine up, or even get someone in the car giving it a bit of a rev, because as the motor revs, it tends to twist. And if your engine mount is broken, well, your motor's going to try and jump out of its place. So the engine mounts look all good. What I am seeing that looks bad is the tie rod ends here on this caster arm. Now, upper caster arm here, you can see that rubber boot is all split, and it may not be knocking carrying on per se, but the rubber boot split, it's letting all the grease out and letting all the ingress in, the water and the dirt. And that's not good, because that is a greasable part, and it needs to be, well, greased at all times, lubricated at all times. So, just giving a few things a wobble under here. And it is under load. The car's still on its own weight, bearing its own weight, so it's a bit hard to feel. It's all easier on a hoist, trust me. But you still do it from the ground here, no worries, and do it well. We're just checking the inner brake pads as well. Fronts look good. But yeah, they need replacing, and to be honest, you can take that upper caster arm out. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, upper caster arm. Upper control arm, sorry. You can take that control arm out. That's a 19mm bolt right there. But there's another boot or rubber boot kind of thing up the back there. I'm not giving you a proper look because I'm zoomed right in. But there's another big rubber, there's the other end of him there, and he's got an internal rubber bushing. Now that tends to be stretched and twisted, and to punch that out, it's an absolute pain. So look, he's best off just to get a whole new control arm. That will come with the new rubber boot, the whole new control arm, and the new caster bush, or I think it's caster bush or control arm bush up the top there. I can't remember all the names. There's so many names for everything, every component under here. Trailing arm, control arm, upper control arm, lower control arm, sway bar link, sway bar, tie rod, you name it, there's a lot going on. So bingo on the other side too, driver's side. I don't know how well you can see that. But same story, bro. Boot is split. So they all need replacing. Try and hold the camera and do stuff at the same time. There's the other end of him right there. And once again, he's got a pressed big round rubber in there. And they split and they crack. So, yeah, look, I'm going to note that. Front left control arm, upper control arm, front left upper control arm, rubber boot split. Due for a replace. His power steering boots look all good. That's attached to your steering rack. That basically when you turn the wheel, these arms here, this arm here, when you turn left or right, this arm here pushes out and pushes the wheel out left or right as needed. So look, everything looks pretty good there. We are seeing that leak on the transmission lines, as I said, but I dare say it's coming from the crank seal. Let me show you what the crank seal is. Let me get out of here. And it's so common on these Commodores, it's not funny. Common Commodore problem. So there, yeah, look, there it is right there. So I'm going to zoom you right in, take you right in. And we can see down here, this is your harmonic balancer, this big wheel right here that I've got the light on. That's basically attached to your crank of your motor. Now, it's not really focusing properly. You look at all that oil residue condensation there, that'll be getting flicked up from the basically front seal behind that harmonic balancer, so your front crank seal. And once again, it's a common problem. If I bloody camera, if I went and looked at my VE Commodore right now, it will look exactly like this. And my VE Commodore, it has 320,000 Ks on it. This has 189,000 Ks on it. So it's a common problem. The cam seals leaking are also a common problem. Cam seal sensors is those two right there. But look out, they're not leaking. So that's not actually a problem. So if you do have an alloy tech engine and you've got your cam seals leaking or your cam sensor seals leaking, don't be concerned. They all leak, and if you replace them, they'll just leak again. Heater tap is under here. Trying to do everything one hand with the torch to look at it all. Heater tap is under there. There he is. Heater tap's another common problem for the Commodores, especially the older ones. They all leak, so make sure you always check them. Always check for mice and rats too. I actually was servicing a car years and years ago. It was a VF Series 2 Commodore Ute, a white one, and I'll never forget it. 2 massive rats ran out, took off, and I was in the workshop. I work for a Petters locally workshop here, and 2 big rats the size of cats took off, and they ran into the oil room. And my boss went and got a heap of brake cleaner and a match, and he fixed them in the oil room. I didn't think it was the smartest idea, but it worked. We're also looking at the drive belt here. The drive belt looks great. I don't know what's going on with that camera. It's not focusing, but with the drive belt, you're looking for cracks, stretches, rips, tears. I mean, they've got canvas running through them inside that rubber belt, what you're not seeing. But yeah, you're looking for rips and tears and cracks and splits and that. And once again, the drive belt, I'm not seeing it. It looks great. So look, there's nothing left else to do but start the car. I want to have a listen because we also want to have a listen to those pulleys. Make sure there's no noisy pulleys or wobbly pulleys, but there's not much else left to do. We're going to start the car. We've got a light check to do. A few other things that I want to swing off and hang off. You know, the strut top towers here, I need to check them, but not while the car's up. It needs to be sat down on the ground. So I want to check the strut top rubbers. We've got to check the windscreen wipers. And as I said, do a quick light check, and we're going to check that code too on the dash with our scanner. So let's do that. Another common alloy tech problem. These caps, the housings of these caps, they rust up. They get this alloy sort of build up, and no one ever greases them. So when we're in the workshop, we just used to run a little bit of rubber grease around them before we put that cap back on. You can see all the build up though, and that's basically what will happen. I'll snap so many of these. It's not funny. Someone will go for a long drive one day and they'll go, oh, just check the water and oil quickly. And they'll go to take the cap off and the cap will just break in their hands. And this inner bit here gets left inside and the actual cap is, well, the bit that snaps off in your hand. So what I'm going to do, how to combat that, is just run a wire brush around there, just knock off any of that build-up. And got a little bit in the cap, not too bad, but we're going to run a little bit of rubber grease around it too, and just make sure it doesn't continue happening for future, because now I'm seeing this car, well, it's going to be my problem, isn't it? And I don't want to have to deal with it next time. Much nicer. A little bit of grease. Look at that. I could barely get that off before. Just tighten him up, and that last little click, he's got that little tab. It just clicks into place. Right there. Once he's clicked into place, he's good. Right, window's clean, service sticker is up. Let's put my finger over the number plate. I've used 199,000 as our next service date, and it's 189,000 at the moment. And look, I could have pulled him up to 200, pulled him back in line, because 200 is where that next service deadline will be due to the book, 190, 200, 210, 220. I could have pulled him back in line and put him at 200, but that's technically 11,000 Ks away. So we'll stick with the 10,000 Ks, and no doubt he might go a little bit over, maybe, and then we'll see him back at around 200,000 Ks. A few other things I just want to make note of: common Commodore problems. Always swing off these. These tend to crack right around there. So just give them a bit of a wobble, making sure you're not exposing any cracks and checking that out. Making sure all these are always tight. These are 7mm hose clamps there. So put a 7mm on and make sure they are tight, because you see a lot of times people will undo them and they'll forget to tighten them back up. So just always wobble your air filter box around a bit, not too much. These are very fragile, so don't go touching those. Look, just check things, just look at things. The other week I was servicing a car and I found it was a front wheel drive Toyota Camry 2000 model, and I found that the engine mount coming out, bolting onto the engine, they're an upper engine mount, not a lower engine mount. The upper engine mount bolting onto the engine was loose. There was 2 bolts that were rattled loose. He'd had some drive belts replaced in the past, and obviously someone hadn't tightened the bolts up properly. And where's my rag? And long story short, they had rattled loose between last time working on the car and coming and seeing me. And I said to the customer, "You realise you had 2 engine bolts loose there, mate?" And he said, "You're joking. How did that happen?" I said, "Well, who worked on your car last?" So you'll notice I just pulled the dipstick out. We started the car, but I did not check it, didn't even look at it. It's a false reading because the motor's started up, thrown all the oil up on the dipstick, and then it's dropped down again. So always pull the dipstick out if you've started the car. Don't even look at it. Just walk away. Look at something else, and then re-dip again. Now that one there, I'm not getting a proper reading, so I just want to have another look. Such a dodgy spot too. Look at this. It's right beside the jump start. The batteries are in the boot in these, so your jump start points are there for your negative, and here for your positive. And a lot of these plastic covers are missing. So as you go to pull your dipstick out, zzz, you arc out on the side. I've done that so many times. So let's have a look. It's spot on, it is. Absolutely spot on. Right up in that cross hatch section. And what I'll do is I'll show you that. We'll just dip it one more time. I just wiped it a little bit. We'll show you that out in the daylight. And I'll show you exactly where it should be. Down, 1, 2, 3. Pull it out. Let's go for a walk. So what we want to see is it right up, coming up into that crosshatch line there. So you got your bottom crosshatch line, that's low. Your upper crosshatch line, that's max. So anywhere above that, you're too high, you're too full, and you can damage your engine. Anywhere below that, low crosshatch, and where your engine is starved of oil, and that's also not good. So that's perfect. 7 litres, that's what it recommends. By the handbook, that's what we put in. So of course it's right. All right, quick clean up with the rag. Engine cover back on, and this car's going back to the customer. Just before we wrap up and take the car back to the customer, we're going to walk you through what this all cost and how long it's taken me. All right, something quick else we're going to do before we let this car go. As I said before, check diagnostics on this thing. The OBD2 is up in here. Just trying to work out which way I am. I'm the right way. Go in, would you? There it goes. So OB2 2, which stands for Onboard Diagnostics 2, and it's the second OBD2 that they've released. So the OBD 1 was just your original code scanning system setup, and this is OBD2. So this is basically a new system setup, onboard diagnostics setup number 2. I've done a couple of diagnostic snap-on training technician courses. I did a 2-night technician course there when I worked for the local petters. Look at that, codes found none. But this certainly isn't a read them again. This certainly isn't. Oh, there you go. We do have one. This certainly isn't a snap-on code scanner. I mean, some of those code scanners, the snap-on ones we used to use in the workshop, they would go up to around about 10 grand, and then you'd have to pay at least about 1,500 or a couple of grand a year. Look at all the codes he's got to have them updated so they could still continue reading all the modern new vehicles. So first code there, I didn't think this is actually going to read because it's only a cheap scanner. PO171, System 2 Lean Bank 1, fuel level sensor A circuit high, System 2 Lean Bank 1 again, System 2 Lean Bank 2. I dare say these are all old codes because if that was running System 2 Lean Bank 1, it'd be running like a, well, it just wouldn't be running very well at all. You'd start the car and it'd be shuddering around and carrying on. I would say he's done plugs or leads or coils, sorry, not leads. These are a coil over lead or coil over plug setup. But these engines here, they do have a common problem of doing coils. And of course, you've got to replace your spark plugs every so often because they bugger up. So I dare say he's had a few coil packs replaced. We're going to erase all those codes. Oh, key on, engine off. Key O. Don't mind the beeping. Let's erase those codes again. And we'll go back out. Scroll through, read codes. Okay, we've still got them. Why are they still there? Let's erase them again. Key on, engine off. Yep, we've got that. Key O. As I said, this little cheap scanner is, yeah, there we go. No codes are stored in the module. It did work. Go back through. Cheap scanners sometimes can be very good. Like this one's actually behaving very well right now, reading this car. We'll just erase them again. There's no more there. We'll just double check. But sometimes cheap code scanners, they don't even connect to cars, man. They're horrible. So that's pretty cool. We've erased his codes. I do have I didn't write them down, but obviously I've recorded this, so I can write them down in the book and just write down what we've erased. System Lean Bank 1, System Lean Bank 2, fuel circuit failure, I think it was, something like that. But I'll write them down in the book there and let the client know. So excellent. All right, I think we're good to go. And before we do go, we will show you exactly what all this has cost us. All right, well, what was the cost to service the car here today? The VF Commodore, new oil, oil flush, injector cleaner, oil filter, a good check over. This is all from Super Cheap Auto, this pricing, and then I'll let you know what I charge to do this job. So we bought some engine oil flush. It was 16 bucks. We do get a trade discount at Super Cheap Auto, which is nice. Injector cleaner, so that's the injector cleaner there that we used. The first one is the engine oil flush. So 16 bucks each for those guys. We had the engine oil filter at $9.59. Ryco, good brand. Don't like using Secura, and I could have went genuine Holden filter, but look, Ryco is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Always used them, love them. And we had the engine oil 7 litre on special, which was great. $74.99, so 75 bucks. So total all up was $116, and we did save around there it is, $43.40 that we saved all up with our discount card and a bit of a discount there, trade promotional discount. So look, not too bad. The customer is up for $116, and that's really good considering, you know, oil, injector cleaner and oil flush, which is just, I really highly recommend using those products. If you haven't, maybe don't use them every time like I explained, but make sure you use them periodically. So new oil filter, all of that, and oil. We did some bug wash screen cleaner. That's just an additive that I put in. But all of that, he was up for, what did I say? $116, and I charge $100 at home here to do a service. And it generally takes me about an hour and a half. I don't rush it. I tend to take a little bit longer, and I don't charge by time, by hours. You know, if I charge by hourly rate, it'd be a little bit different, but I just charge by the job. So this car here, it's $100 for a service. And then last week, same thing, serviced the car for $100. The parts required were about 86. So the customer got out of here for $186 with a service car, and his engine bolts tightened up. Oh dear. Anyway, look, I like to do a good job always, and I like to share this too, because for anybody wanting to try it at home, look, it's easily enough done, and you can do it, no worries yourself, and save a bit of money. That's the main thing that I like to try and help people with. Save that bit of money. So I'll just show you the notes that we've got there, just blocking the name and the customer's details. But we had a service check over. We replaced oil and filter. We've got the driver's side and passenger side upper control arm outer boots that are split. We're going to replace the whole arms. We'll recommend that to the customer. The tyre pressures on all tyres were too high, 40 psi. We adjusted down to 36. We did a light check, a brake check, a fluid top up. We did the radiator cap greased and clean with the wire brush, and the rear tyres are due for replacing soon. At around, well, look, I'll give him 3 months. He's a bit of a young bloke, so around 3 months. And when he comes back here, look, car's not back here for 6 months or 10,000 Ks. So when he comes back here, we will check over them all again. Rear tyres, brake pads, everything included. Being a young bloke, he might wear those brakes down a little bit quicker. So really hope you've enjoyed, guys. As I said, $216. This car's out of here, and it's another one done. We'll see you next time.